Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Not Quite Serious podcast for Sunday, the 10th of December 2017. I, as always, am Leon, and up there is your other host, Dan.
Hi guys, hope you all enjoyed the stunning bespoke episode 9 that I put out 2 weeks ago. Oh, that was a humdinger.
Yeah, I can't believe I keep getting sick on the weekends that we record the podcast. But it just so happens that my voice completely goes and I just can't speak. So,
Well, it can't be helped. You work with a lot of people, so it's going to happen.
yeah, dangers of working with the public. Never mind. Anyway, coming up on the show today, we have the usual food talk, we have beer talk, we have news coming up about Patreon over this past week, some breaking news from this week. We have a little bit of talk about
That's that
some other
entertainment
stuff.
section. We're going to be talking about
Yeah.
stuff we've
What
watched.
entertainment do we have?
The
Yeah.
Punisher from Netflix.
That's right.
And we've been playing
And
games.
then we'll move on to games. The games that we've been playing over the past month because I wasn't here 2 weeks ago. So, right. So, let's get started with a bit of food.
I believe there's a button for that. Button?
Somewhere? Oh, there it is.
Ah, food and drink. What a lovely thing, eating. And
Well,
I've
yeah,
got
that's why we made this channel.
the perfect snack. Comes in a little round shape. Well, you can see that. Let me bring that up nice and close to the camera.
It's just a little bit upside down. There we go.
Cadbury Roundy milk chocolate.
I have had these before, so I'll be interested to see what you think.
It looks like a wafer biscuit, a big kind of chunky medallion circle with a kind of, yeah, just a fairly hearty looking wafer. Let's pull that open. This one, of course, 50p. I love things with the prices right on the packaging. That helps me out an incredible amount. What with my incredible research of products and how much they cost.
But always remember and never get it wrong.
I quite like this nice bright purple sparkly Cadbury packaging there.
Yeah, I know when they come in because they come in multi-packs as well. When you buy them in multi-packs, they're individually wrapped inside those as well.
Oh, so these come available as a load of them, do they?
Yeah, they come as a pack of 5. You get 5 roundies for, I think it's probably about £2. So you get like a bonus one.
Oh,
So
that's not too bad going. Now the smell of these is really nice. It's like just that Cadbury chocolate. It is Cadbury, right? I've not forgotten already.
It is Cadbury.
And yeah, it comes out straight away. You can just about see a little bit of the wafer shining through the back there, where it's kind of hit something while it's being set up.
Not quite enough chocolate on the back part there.
Go on then, let's have a wafer. A nice balance of wafer and biscuit.
I think it's literally just wafer the whole way through with like layers of the chocolate.
It's pretty much an ordinary wafer. There's nothing particularly special about the wafer. I really like that the outer side of the coin, the circle, is a thick, chunky bit of chocolate.
Yeah, yeah.
That really hits the spot.
Do you know what they remind me of? Like a big round Kit Kat.
A little bit.
If instead of it coming in little bars, if it came as a big round circle, that's kind of what it reminds me of. But obviously with Cadbury chocolate, not I think it's Nestle.
Now just find somewhere to set this down, because I obviously come well prepared. There we go.
2 snacks.
Yeah, of course. I always bring 2. And the other snack I've got is coming up right now. Bombay mix.
Ah, what brand is that?
Comes from Best In.
Hmm.
59p. What can I tell you about this? I guess the ingredients on the back are pretty much the actual contents, because there's no menu, there's no actual making of this per se. It's just a mix of nuts and
Yeah, it's a mix of nuts and bits, and
though they have put a spicy kind of sauce on there, though it's not entirely apparent what's in that. I don't think there's anything special about this. This is just your standard Bombay mix. I don't think that.
I think it just has like a curry powder sort of coating, doesn't it? Something like that.
You've had the Bombay bad boy. Now go back to the original mix that started it all.
The Bombay mix.
It doesn't quite give me that feeling of spiciness. It just smells like you've walked in to a rabbit's hutch, and there's a bit of rabbit food that's like a bit warm because it's a warm sunny day and it's been sat out. It's like slightly disgusting.
Yeah, I don't think. From what I recall, Bombay mix isn't especially spicy.
And, I'll eat some of that. To be fair to it, I quite like the taste of that curry sauce.
It sounds very crunchy.
Very, very crunchy. So incredibly dry. It's not actually that bad to snack on this stuff. Just because it's basically just peanuts in different shapes, isn't it? With what appears to be a few raisins.
I'm not a huge fan of Bombay mix. Last time I had it. Oh.
See if I can show that. That's what you're getting.
Yeah, it's very orange.
A very orange mix. Spill that all over the place. Have my keyboard smelling of curry.
That's the worst thing, because it could smell off.
For 59p, I'm reasonably surprised and pleased by that.
That doesn't sound too bad. It's a decent sized bag for 50 odd p.
Decent sized bag, a nice curry sauce. Obviously the little bits and bobs aren't anything special, but it all kind of comes together. It's a nice.
There's probably higher quality Bombay mixes out there, but
so pretty pleased with my two offerings today. A thumbs
excellent.
Up and a thumbs up.
Nice. Both thumbs up.
How about
So let me just sit up a little bit, because my item today was brought to me by my chocolate buddy.
Your chocolate buddy?
My chocolate buddy brought me this, and he brought me some Choc and Crunch.
Whoa, what on earth is that?
It's
Is it one of them yogurts with the biscuit things and you
No. It's a little tub of biscuits.
Oh, I see them now, yeah.
They are they look like those little they're very similar to those little panda biscuits you can get, or the
Are
they
they like those biscuits we had on a previous Seriously Hungry episode? I think it would have been a Christmas one, but I can't quite remember.
Yeah, they look similar to those little panda biscuits with the chocolate inside. So they smell kind of like Nutella, actually. That's weird. I don't think there's any hazelnut in these.
It seems like a good start.
There's no hazelnut in these. I think it must be the biscuit meshing with the chocolate that makes them Nutella-y. But mini biscuits with a chocolate cream filling. It says there's a funny motive pick on every one, and the funny motive pick on this one is a little crown.
Oh, what fun!
That's very fun, and yeah. Inside they have like a chocolate cream.
That seems like a fairly decent measure of chocolate cream filling.
Most of it actually escaped into my mouth when I tried to bite through it, but yeah. So they're all little pictures on. So
Yeah.
there's a butterfly, and this one's got like, what's this one? Like a little bird.
So it is very
But yeah.
much like those snacks that come in the red boxes. Have
Yeah, like the little
drugs
panda
and
biscuits.
cartoons.
So
You
yeah,
say
so
they're
it's a
better?
cracker. So a cracker biscuit filled with chocolate, and it's a quid for this whole tub. So
That seems all right on paper.
decent price. They're actually quite tasty as well. It's a nice substantial tasting filling, and the biscuits are very crunchy. So yeah, I like those. And yeah, I'll give them a thumbs up. I like those.
Yeah, good, good, good.
So yeah, successful food.
So good food this time round.
Mm.
Of course, we'll put this its own little video with us being bigger, so you can watch that
Yeah,
there as well if you want.
Stick that in its own little video, and you can watch it again.
It's the treats that keep on giving.
Or if you don't watch the podcast, that's why we segment this section off. So.
Yeah. Coincidentally, if you are interested in this podcast, it's a whole separate video. If you've been watching these food and drink videos, you can come and watch the podcast, the NQS podcast. Just look for it in the video stream.
Yeah, it goes up every 2 weeks usually, unless I get sick and can't speak. We do need to make sure we do need to make a bit more of an effort to let people know we do a podcast at the end of the videos when we record them, and I think we try and start doing that going forward. But...
So I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What does the podcast do over Christmas?
Yes, the next podcast, 2 weeks' time, does fall on the 24th of December.
We may experiment a little bit. There may be a leeway of a week backwards or frontwards, depending to work around the holidays, because that may not be possible.
We might just end up releasing or recording a podcast a week later, or even next week, depending on how we can do it. So
yeah, so stay tuned for that.
We'll see. We're definitely going to not be able to sit down on Christmas Eve and record the podcast.
No, it's not feasible to do it there. So it'll be
I'm not going to be at home.
Less live.
I'm not going to be at home, and I don't think Dan's going to be at home either. So
well, how about a drink for good old Leon here? In fact,
yeah. How about I get my
drink beer so I can have beer so I can get my beer extraction.
Whoa.
Indeed. And here it is. Not what you might have been expecting. Not what I was expecting to come out of the shop with when I went shopping for a beer for the podcast.
Well, that's just a kind of Budweiser, right? I mean, you've not done much preparation.
Budweiser Prohibition Brew.
Oh.
So, yeah, this is America's genuine non-alcoholic brew.
I'd never heard of non-alcoholic Budweiser before, to be honest.
I'd never heard of it until recently. During Prohibition, we brewed a non-alcoholic recipe for those who counted on Budweiser taste and quality. Now, Budweiser taste and quality, I will debate, but let's just continue reading. A century later, we still deliver a smoothness and drinkability perfect for every occasion. So, this is perfect for every occasion because it's alcohol-free and you can drink it wherever.
So is that 0.05, like orange juice kind of alcohol-free?
Yeah, it says on the back, not more than 0.05.
Yeah. It's a nice hearty-looking can, nice and chunky.
I like the can. I do like the black and white style of the can.
And it's interesting that they sold that for real during the Prohibition, assuming that's not all marketed.
Supposedly, it could all be bull, but we don't know. So, what kind of spoils the niceness of the can is this giant red text at the bottom that says alcohol-free.
Perhaps, but that might be like they're going for that weird Prohibition style. The random.
Yeah, so it's a bright red logo that goes, yes, this is not beer.
Yeah.
Well, it is beer, but there's no alcohol in it.
They taken to their smokies.
So this does feel like something I should drink straight out of the can, but I'll still decant it so we can see what it looks like. It has that feel to it where it's like, yeah, I should just open it and drink it.
Good old chugging can, that.
It smells lagery. Budweiser is essentially lager, I believe. Oh, dearie me. This is very pale.
Ah, good old pale ale.
Very pale.
Actually, that
Wow.
that doesn't come across as being too pale on the camera.
It's
when you bring it up
extremely...
into the light, you kind of
When I hold it in the light, yeah, it's
ghostly it is.
extremely light yellow. I wouldn't. It's not even. I wouldn't say it's. It's kind of a golden color, but it's a very light yellowy golden color.
When it gets the light, you can just see how transparent it is. When you hold it
I
down there,
if I hold it here, it
just normal.
It looks fine. If I hold it, the very pale thing up against my red cushion, it looks orange.
Oh yeah, nice, rich-looking ale there.
Let's. Yeah, it has the nose of a basic lager. I can't say it smells bad. It's not very strong smelling. Not like last time's beer. It smelled sour and horrible. But oh. Now, that's got a very, very thin feel in the mouth. Basically like soda water.
So would you say it's at least as good as your shandy?
No. It's got very thin. It's got no upfront taste whatsoever. It tastes like the upfront taste is soda water. And then just as you finish swallowing it and start to get the aftertaste, it's got a mild sort of lagery finish. I mean, do you remember when we did the non-alcoholic Seriously Hungry a couple of years ago?
Back in 2015,
and we had that I forget what brand the beer was, but we had that beer that
was that the no-name generic lager?
It could have been, yeah, where it was fine to drink because it tasted so bland. This just had the aftertaste in this is slightly off-putting though, because there's no upfront sort of beer taste, so you don't feel like you're drinking beer.
It kind of just feel like you're drinking some water, and you've got a horrible kind of.
Feels like you're drinking slightly fizzy water with a weird aftertaste.
How would that stack up against a bottle of fizzy, sparkling Highland spring water?
I'd probably just take the water, to be fair. If I'm gonna drink something that tastes like water, it might as well be water.
How is the fizz?
Say again, most of the fizz is almost completely gone since I poured it. So, the further I drink down, the less fizz there is. I think the fizz has just escaped. So now it just tastes like it's gone flat.
At least with Highland Spring, it has a nice fizzy kick to it. Even though it's just water, you kind of get a nice carbonated kick.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of the fizzy waters because they always have that. You get that flavour that comes with the carbon dioxide that's dissolved in the water, and it always puts me off slightly.
I used to be that way, but then was weaned on it, just randomly drinking the fizzy water from the vending machines at work for years and years.
I suppose that's one way to do it. I think you could easily get used to this. I mean, if you can't drink actual beer and you want to pretend you're drinking beer, which always baffles me. This would do fine.
Would you drink a pint of that?
No. In fact, I'm not going to drink the rest of this. I'm going to have one more sip for the road, I think.
One more for the road, that's what they say.
Now it's completely flat.
Yeah.
So now it tastes like still water with a funky aftertaste.
Do you feel you're besmirching that Brewdog logo that's being shown in front of it?
Kind of. I don't like Budweiser at the best of times, but this is so nothingy. I'd rather drink a a full, not a normal alcoholic bud.
I imagine your beer's faction rating is going to be pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I'm not very beerified, but on the other hand, it doesn't taste anywhere near as offensive as the horrible sour stout that I had a while back. So I'm going to give it, I think I gave that a 2 out of 10. So I'm going to go one point higher with this one because it's not as offensive to drink. I don't like it, but it's not as offensive, so I'm going to have to give it a point higher just for that reason. So that gets a whatever I gave that. If I gave that stout a 2, this gets a 3. I can't remember what I gave it.
3 out of 10.
Yeah.
We'll,
obviously, if I gave that stout a 3, this gets a 4, etc.
I'll go back and tabulate this sometime. Because you know, like I've got that wall of noodles. Do something like that, but for beers. Because you've done a few of these beers factions now. You've got about 3 or 4 under your belt.
It might behoove me to actually write these down. Also, so that I don't accidentally buy the same beer again and rate it completely differently, which I probably would do.
No, you're a consummate professional. You would instantly get the.
I instantly know exactly which beers I've tasted and would rate them exactly the same on the scale, no matter what mood I'm in or what day I drink them on. It's fine.
Well, that just about brushes it up for food and drink.
Yeah. So how? Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the old food and drink separate feeds.
Excellent.
Put them to one side for a rainy day. I think we'll move on.
Or the way the weather's going at the moment, it's going to be a snowy day.
Oh, yes. Put them aside for a snowy day.
Yeah. I will turn on my big screen so I can see this.
See the news.
Okay. Oop. There we are. Okay. Now.
In the news today.
In the news this time. Now, this sort of came up this week, so I wanted to discuss it. I'm not the best person to discuss this, and neither is Dan. Neither of us use Patreon. I personally don't patronize, or I'm not a patron, and neither am I a creator on Patreon. I don't use the site at all. I don't know about you, Dan.
No, I've not really.
So you're neither either. Okay, so you don't give and you don't take.
The closest would be for that What Culture stuff. The wrestling thing.
Yeah. I know of Patreon, and I have given on Patreon in the past, but I don't currently use it. And that was, I think it was years ago when I gave on Patreon, so I don't know if they changed any of the structure since or whatever. I know plenty of the creators that I do watch on YouTube have a Patreon, and there's others like webcomics that also have Patreons, and you know, there's loads of different kinds of content people create.
Most obvious guy I can think of is that Mike Jevons. He's got a Patreon. Yeah,
and he just creates silly internet videos. And there's plenty of like webcomic creators, like I forget his name, but the guy who does questionable content. He has a Patreon for his webcomic. So it's there for all sorts of things. So what happened? So I was just browsing Twitter on Thursday. The 7th. Thursday was the 7th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Twitter just exploded with talk of Patreon changing the way it handles pledges and fees. So I kept an eye on it because I always like it when companies appear to be completely cocking everything up, and this is the way it looks on Twitter right now. So I'm just going to briefly read a little bit from this Engadget article, which I've brought up because it will describe it in better detail than I can off the top of my head. Okay. So, yeah, this week, popular patronage system Patreon made an announcement that has shaken its user base to the core. I think they're being very dramatic, but I would actually agree that's the correct wording in this instance. It completely shook Twitter anyway. So they're changing the fees, and they're gutting out the current pledge system and replacing it entirely. And it has already had a huge impact on a number of creators. I've seen creators lose hundreds of patrons who don't agree with the way this is going. It's literally starting to. It's been what 3 days. It's already started to devastate a lot of creators on Patreon and like really cut into their livelihoods. A lot of these people rely on Patreon to pay the rent, and
Patreon was the backup option for when YouTube's advert apocalypse kind of damaged how much money they could earn off that.
Patreon recently did get a massive boom in popularity because of the adpocalypse driving people away from YouTube for revenue and driving them towards Patreon for revenue. And it doesn't seem that Patreon quite understands that is why they had a boom in popularity for video creators. But anyway, basically, this is just going on to describe Patreon, where you pledge monetary amounts from $1 up to whatever ceiling the creator creates, and for various monthly rewards. And it's worked pretty fine. I don't think many complaints up until now that I know of. It's been fairly simple, but like I say, a lot of people rely on Patreon to pay the rent and like buy food and things like this. So they've introduced new changes that completely just flip everything on its head. So they sent an email out to all the creators outlining changes to the fee structure, like we said. Rather than taking the processing fee from the creators, they've taken that responsibility and given it straight to the patrons. So the creators aren't paying the fee. The customer is now paying the fee, which is not how you run a business. But unfortunately, the people running their businesses on Patreon don't have the option to not run their business like that. They've basically been told if. Sorry.
Sorry. I keep imagining myself quietly going, And it's just so funny.
So we've gone past the food section, Dan. What are you doing? I'll just bury myself in my coffee. Look, for Fox's sake, Dan, we're doing this.
This is a serious news story, right? Carry on from the last thing.
Yeah, I don't care that the podcast is called Not Quite Serious. We're being serious.
Yeah, sorry. Serious.
Anyway, I'll just briefly describe. I'll try and hurry this up because it is very dry. So Patreon is starting to charge the supporters now rather than the creators, because there used to be a fee which what was it? There was a 5% fee on every dollar from Patreon. So if they took 5 cents out of every dollar, and there was also a service charge which ranged anywhere between 2 and 10% depending on what happened that month, how much was donated, etc., etc. But now they've changed it so that it's a standard 2.9% plus 35 cents on every transaction. So, which in theory isn't a terrible idea, although that does go to like I said, that goes to supporters, the customer, rather than the business owner, the creator, which is iffy for me. But even if like you might think, oh, that's fine, it's a small fee on top, and a lot of people will be willing to pay a tiny fee to support their favorite creator and make sure they get more of the cut of the money. So, but the huge issue this causes is that Patreon had also decided to split pledges. What they used to do was take, if you say you supported 10 creators, What they used to do was bundle up all your money and take it as one lump sum out of your bank account at the beginning of every month. Now what they want to do is take it as, if you support 10 creators, they'll take one pledge this day, one pledge the next day, one pledge the a couple of days later, etc. throughout the week. Or if you support them all on the same day, they'll take 10 separate pledges all on that same day. They won't bundle them as one payment. They'll all be separate pledges. So basically, for the $1 pledges, which from my experience make up the majority of the pledges on Patreon, the $1 pledges, because people like throw $1 for support. It's a nice small amount to do. Anyone can do it. Yeah. But say you're pledging to one, just for this example, say you're pledging to one person a $10 fee. The new fee would make that cost you $10.64. The 2.9% plus the 35. So that would you'd be out of pocket an extra 64 cents. But say you are supporting 10 different creators at the cost of $1 a time. Now that's 10 separate payments with 10 separate service charges. So that would cost you $13.80.
Yeah, it's gonna.
That's
if you're supporting lots of YouTubers, your bill at the end of the month
is a huge difference.
Ramped up. That means you have to pick 3 or 4 people to throw off just to keep your bill the same.
Yeah, that's almost 40%. It's 38% on top of what you've pledged, simply because you wish to pledge to multiple people.
That little fixed fee, isn't it? That's doing it, the service fee bit.
It's the fixed fee, yeah. Because if that was 2.9%, that $10 and that $10 would be the same. But that fixed 35 cents on top is just pushing the bill right up. And I've seen a lot of creators on Twitter that are pleading with Patreon to allow them to take that hit, and Patreon have basically said, "Nope, this is what we're doing. Your supporters have to pay it," and so people are just losing supporters in droves. It's insane.
I had a look at the FAQ on that, yeah, and they specifically said, "Can I take the hit for them?" The Patreon
no, basically.
You can't.
Why not? Why not give the creators that choice? I don't understand. They've had so much backlash on Twitter, and all they've basically done is offered an explanation and doubled down on it, which is insane to me.
People paying in, that's your £10 or $10, and then if you pay your £3 odd, you still get your $6 at the end of the day. And the creator's got his $6, so he's happy. But now he gets no dollars whatsoever because those people.
Yeah, if I'm pledging to 10 creators, and all of a sudden my bill is now $14, I have to drop support for 4 of those people because I can't afford it anymore.
It's a big
a lot of people pledge the minimum amount because that's all they can afford. So when they can't afford it anymore, that means that creator has now lost all the support rather than just a small percentage of it. So, and with this happening in the hundreds,
you're going to have to pick your favourites, aren't you, at the end of the day? And if you're a smaller company, a smaller
yeah, if say we had a patron and we had,
we'd
I don't
be
know,
at the bottom of the...
if we had 50 patrons, say, if everyone on our YouTube channel like patronised us $1, we had 50 patrons. If 30 of those decided they don't want to pay these fees, or even 10 of those decided they don't want to pay these fees, we're out $10. We're out nearly $10. Whereas if we could pay the fees, we'd only be out about $8. We'd only be out about $3.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why Patreon are being so stubborn.
It's probably too much work
people are already looking for alternatives. Like the creators themselves that are, because it's not just the patrons that are annoyed about this. The creators themselves are horrified, and loads of them are looking for alternatives already.
So I think there's going to be another company coming out with some edgy hipster name, which will be the replacement for Patreon that does what it did before.
Kickstarter are already throwing around a similar idea called Drip. So
there you go. Drip. That's what
Kickstarter's Drip. There's already a gaming related one called Game Wisp, I believe, which is basically Patreon but for gaming content. But yeah, it's terrible.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, and drip me a few funds.
Basically, it's it's baffling to me as someone sat on the outside looking at it and thinking, what are Patreon doing? It literally looks to me like they're trying to weed out smaller creators and smaller pledges.
It's just going to become.
I can't.
They're
doubling
trying
down
to
on
turn
it.
the internet
Doubling
into a
down.
second TV.
Yeah, doubling down in the way that they have and saying no compromise, we're just going to do it. Says to me that they don't want smaller creators on their platform, who are the ones that pay all the bills, by the way. They don't want those people there. They just want the higher tier creators to make the platform look more appealing. But if that's cutting off your nose to spite your face. Because if you want the platform to look more appealing so that more people will come on board, don't get rid of all the small people who are the ones that are just coming on board that could eventually be up here with the others. Because if you cut off these people, no one else is going to come up here, and you're just going to end up with a stagnation of the top tier creators. And when they eventually trail off, and there's going to be no one to replace them from underneath.
Yeah, they basically just want small, like up-and-coming TV studios, don't they? People that have invested funds into their setup.
They want them. They want like the massive YouTubers, and they want the huge content creators, and like big websites and things like that.
They want a spreadsheet that just says average earnings, and then when a big YouTuber looks
they want that number to be right up here. They want that number to be right up here, so investors look at it and go, "Oh, that's huge." They don't want like these little people dragging the thing down. It's just silly. I mean,
it's disappointing, really, isn't it?
It's very disappointing. I'm going to keep my eye on Patreon because they may have just going into the new year effectively killed most of their business.
It's kind of sad in a way, isn't it? I bet they didn't think this back at the start. They probably didn't even think it through all the way. They just thought, oh yeah, we'll do that little simplify.
Supposedly, they've been planning this for a year. Supposedly, they contacted patrons and creators and surveyed them about this and asked them what they thought. But anecdotally, what I've heard is that the survey to creators amounted to, do you enjoy paying fees? Yes, no. Obviously, they're going to say no. No one enjoys paying fees. But their answer to, let's not make the creators pay fees, was, let's make the patrons pay all the fees.
Oh, so the actual patrons, the people that create stuff,
have
said they don't like fees, and it's confused Patreon into thinking that, oh, we'll get rid of the fees
from the creators, but pass them on to the customers, the patrons, which is it's not how you run a business.
Yeah, passing them.
I mean, you have to pass some of the burden. I mean, it depends what kind of business you're running, obviously. But if you're running a business to say, you pay me £10 and I'll give you X. If you then say, oh, I'll give you that £10, Leon, and I go, right, that'll be £12.99. You go, what?
Yeah, kind of. It's just a misleading thing.
Yeah.
You're not paying them anymore. You're specifically paying them and a bit for Patreon.
I understand that Patreon has to take its fee. It's a business. It has to make money, and I understand that they have processing fees. I just don't understand why they can't give people the option to bundle those fees at the start of every month instead of forcing everyone to adopt their new system.
Yeah, it should be an account, shouldn't it? And it looks at these things and groups them, because I guess when you first
if everything's coming out on if everything's scheduled to come out on the same day, I don't see why it can't be scheduled as one payment.
These patrons, you don't pay up front, do you? You pledge to pay after a certain day, don't you? You don't immediately.
No, you do. In a lot of them, you do pay up front. There is a pay up front thing.
Oh, okay.
So they've said one of the reasons they're doing it is because the way they have the system set up is that if, for example, their example was if you paid on November 29th, if you pledged $10 or whatever, on November 29th, you'd be charged immediately that $10 in the pay upfront scheme. And then as soon as December the 1st rolled round, you'd then be charged again because it's a pay upfront scheme. Why not, if you're paying that late in the month, waive that first fee? Because you're paying for the next month, quite clearly. Or
just need a little simple creativity.
You need a little text box that says, I want access now. I will pay now. Or I want access later. I will pay on the next billing date.
Yeah, it just needs a little update, doesn't it? A patch.
Yeah, all it needed was a tweak. It didn't need gutting and replacing with a horrible system.
But they seem to be refusing to even budge, which is a shame, really. They're going to wreck their own business doing that.
Well, I'll be keeping an eye on it, and if there's any... I mean, there's 2 weeks' time, there's bound to be some sort of update. We can talk about the fallout next podcast. And if you do want to see a bit more, various YouTubers have started popping up videos on it. I don't know. I know Sid Alpha has a video on it on his channel, and I can't recall if I saw one on Review Tech USA, but I think he did. I might be wrong. Might have been someone else. Sorry. But either way, you can check their videos out if you want someone to explain it better than
us. Our quality podcast product is perhaps not the best place to learn about this, but get the idea and then go on and educate yourself.
It's not a me trying to teach people about what happened. It's a case of me wanting to give my opinion because I think it's a pile of arses.
It's bad news, yeah.
So anyway, let's move on to something a bit nicer, a bit less serious. Let's continue nibbling on your chocolate cookie.
Entertainment.
Delicious.
And this past month, Patreon's not the only people being punished. So is everyone the Punisher has been up against in Marvel's Punisher.
Now, before we get onto that, I just want to point out that I got a strong heart.
Oh yeah, little muscly arms.
Anyway.
Well, it's got the muscle to punish with.
Yeah.
So Marvel dropped the entire season in one go, as is their preference with these Marvel series.
As they do on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as they do on Netflix.
Well, they do sometimes do things like Better Call Saul that are weekly episodes.
Yeah, a lot of the time they just dump the entire season, though, don't they? So
it's a nifty special feature. So for Marvel's Punisher, it's basically that gun-toting maniac of a guy from the original Daredevil. I can't remember if it was Daredevil season 1 or 2. He was a smaller character. Of course, he's a well-known,
he's a very well-known.
But in the Marvel, in the Netflix Marvel sub-universe, whatever they're calling it,
you have to separate this from the actual Marvel MCU. This is the Marvel TV universe. Yeah.
It's very, very vaguely connected because they do kind of go, remember what happened in New York back then? They vaguely reference aliens that occurred. But they kind of, strangely enough, the place has no signs of being damaged by aliens. It just looks fine to me. But they're immensely durable there in the old.
Well, it's New York. I mean, they've had gorillas climbing skyscrapers, etc. over the years, and it's been fine.
Amazing.
New York, very resilient city.
The Punisher, I found, is a much slower pace than the other the Defender heroes. I don't really think the Punisher is one of the Defenders, even though he kind of was in Daredevil's series, but
I can't remember.
Well, he's not part... Oh, you're trying to think if he's considered part of their gang in any of the other Marvel lore.
Yeah, I honestly can't. Yeah, no, I'm probably not the best person to talk to about that because I don't read a lot of comics. So
Yeah, I wish I read comics. It's
I
something
don't. I
I'd
read.
like to do, but
I
I just
say I
never got
don't read a
into
lot
it.
of comics. I mean, I read like one comic every year. So
Yeah. Punisher, Frank Castle. He's
yes,
basically
I know that
a
much.
wanted murderer because he basically goes on a killing spree because apparently a killing spree has caused Bixby to start listening to me. Um,
Shut up, Bixby. Go away.
it's all about his some people in masks showed up one day and they gunned down his poor family. It's a rather graphic thing.
Hmm.
And as revenge, he's taken up guns and gone to find every single one of them and
And punish them.
exact punishment. And
Hence
somehow,
the name. It's very
someway,
clever.
despite always seeming to find the guy that's like, I'm sorry, at the end of every season or whatever, he always finds someone else involved to punish. It's like, huh? Well, I thought you already did
But he
it.
needs plenty of people to punish. I mean, he's the one that doles out the punishings, the
Yeah,
punisher, if you will.
Punisher. This has been better quality writing than Iron Fist was, and the Defenders series as a
Yeah.
whole. But they've kind of taken in a lot of these series, the first 7 episodes tend to be the better episodes, and
Right.
they've stretched those first 7 episodes to the full length of this season. So the story's slower paced but better overall. I like it, but there are points where I'm like, how long's left on this episode? Oh, 20 minutes. It's a nice catchy little intro with a... be quiet, my watch, trying to talk to me as well.
All your technology is just against us doing this
No!
podcast without interruptions. Oh no, my camera. It's all going wrong.
Yeah.
I think I fixed it. There we go.
If you're spotting some weird wavy lines on Leon's feed, just ignore that. What else can I say about the Punisher? There's
I'm not
few...
spotting those.
No, I don't think you can. You can't see them in the smaller feed, though. It's only when you stretch them up, blow them up to full screen.
It's fine.
There's a few cameos from side characters from the Daredevil series. The woman who is a news reporter is in it. I think there's someone else, but I can't quite recall. I might have just misrecognized them. She's like fairly major in this. Obviously, none of the other Defenders are in this. This is a proper standalone series. They're not grouping them up anymore. It's not like Jessica Jones, where she had Luke Cage in a good few episodes.
It's nice to see the other characters, but you do kind of want the character that the series focuses on to be the focal point of your series, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, when I watch things like this, I do.
It does tend to be a bit of a distraction. I guess I kind of like that about the Punisher. There wasn't that many distractions from the story it was trying to tell, other than it was very slow. I guess they couldn't bear to it being distracted because you would quickly lose focus with it being so slow paced.
Oh yeah.
Good characters and good locations in it. It was a nice, memorable story. I think it could have been more epic, but they could always do another season afterwards. So they've kind of gone in a good direction for Punisher. They could probably make him do some more stuff. I would keep him away from the other heroes, to be honest, because they're going to drag him down again. If you've had the patience to sit through this season, you'd probably be willing to sit through another, because the payoff's alright at the end.
Cool. I'll have to give that a watch, actually, because I have not yet seen The Punisher. Or Iron Fist, actually, because I got put off by a review that I heard.
Yeah.
I know you shouldn't be put off by one person's opinion, but actually this was two people's opinion, but You shouldn't be put off by that, but I was put off slightly.
Ah, yes, that was back from the episode I did with Gekidami, wasn't it? And
Yeah, you talked about that there.
and oh, a nice thing about the Punisher, the hand isn't in it. The most generic, boring organisation of thugs that seems to be just about 20 or so people. A huge organisation that has a stupid factory somewhere in China.
Yeah, the hand do get kind of dull.
It's so dull and silly. It's not even like cool. They're just really. And the more the hand gets revealed, the more goofy and silly it is. It's just nothing to be feared whatsoever. Especially when the heroes are so powerful that very little the hand can do can hurt them anyway. Especially Luke Cage, who is basically immune to anything the hand can do.
Yeah.
So no more hand. The hand have been destroyed. Let's keep it that way.
The hand have been banned.
That's my 3 pence on the Punisher.
Mm.
I couldn't think of anything else I've watched this past month that's particularly.
I have watched barely anything. I've watched some YouTube videos, but we don't really want to talk about those here.
No.
So...
Then I think that'll do for entertainment, and I'll play this little games graphic.
Yeah. Now that we're done breaking the fourth wall,
I've put up a graphic for one of the games I believe you've been playing.
I see it. That's Sonic Forces, which I have been playing.
So I've seen this game played end to end on the Game Grumps channel, and you've played it.
I've not seen Game Grumps playthrough. I purchased the game. Was going to talk about it last podcast. Had no voice and couldn't do so. So we're going to talk about it today. Basically, yeah, I got the game for PS4. Just imagine this is a copy of Sonic Forces, because Sonic Forces is over there, and I can't reach it for now. But this is the closest one I had to mine. I've started playing this as well recently, but we'll talk about that next time. Yeah, Sonic Forces is the newest 3D Sonic game. It's the newest Sonic game following hot on the heels of Sonic Mania, which was excellent. I think I talked about that on the podcast, I think.
Oh, yes.
Maybe?
Yes, I remember sticking a little Sonic Mania graphic on the thumbnail.
Okay, so if you remember doing that, then we must have talked about it. But yeah, hot on the heels of Sonic Mania, which was excellent, comes this very decidedly average, run-of-the-mill 3D Sonic game. I am sad to say.
Oh.
I don't know why I'm too sad about that. I mean, 3D Sonic games are always run-of-the-mill and average. Well, at best, and then like terrible at worst. That's not to say I didn't have fun while I was playing it, because it's surprisingly fun to play. The game looks quite nice as you play it. I don't think it's particularly taxing though, so I don't see why it wouldn't. I played the PS4 version, and the feel of playing it feels great. Feels fine. It runs at a rock solid 60 FPS on PS4 and PC and Xbox or whatever it's on. So gameplay wise, it plays smoothly and nicely from a basic perspective, until you decide to play the classic Sonic levels, because classic Fat Sonic is in this game for some reason, because everyone liked Sonic Generations and he was in that, so he had to be in this one as well, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. He has no bearing, zero bearing on the plot of the game whatsoever. He's there for no reason other than to give Tails someone to talk for. So, you've got an itchy nose.
Someone to talk to as he's lost it.
Yeah, Tails has apparently lost it as this game opens, and the very first cutscene he appears in, he seems very happy-go-lucky, and he's just working on a robot. It's very odd, the storyline of this game, and I discovered that it's because the translation is not a It's not a translation; it's a localization, which is fine. You know, that's how you do translation work properly. But they've changed the context of a lot of the scenes in the game, so it's very strange. At the beginning of the game, they say that Sonic has been captured and imprisoned and tortured for months, and then the first time you see Sonic after this scene, he's smiling and cracking jokes as if he's been fine for the whole time. Because from what I've read, that's because in the Japanese, the original Japanese, he hasn't been tortured at all. He's just been imprisoned and waiting to be rescued. So it's a very strange translation. They've made it edgier, it seems, on purpose, and it's very weird.
Having seen the game played through, it may be average and run-of-the-mill, but they have put a lot of effort into their soundtrack.
The soundtrack is really nice. Again, until you play as Classic Sonic, which has some of the worst songs in the entire game. Classic Sonic just doesn't play. It looks fine. Doesn't play or sound very good at all in the game. You probably won't have been able to tell just by watching, but
yeah, I can imagine.
When playing it, there's the perfect example I can give is in the Chemical Plant Zone level with Classic Sonic. There's a big ramp, like there is in every Chemical Plant in every Sonic game. There's a big ramp at the beginning, and if you tuck into a ball and roll down it, there's a jump at the end, and you'll fly off the jump and fly into the air, and it's all great. But if you run down the slope, because Classic Sonic has a fixed maximum running speed, as soon as you get to the incline at the bottom, which is supposed to launch you into the air, he loses all his momentum and doesn't even get over the lip.
Oh.
He can't run down a big hill and up and over a lip in this game because of his maximum running speed. Whereas when you tuck into a ball, he has no maximum speed, he just goes.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help doing these classic levels after Sonic Mania just launched, where they've meticulously recreated
which
the
had
old...
perfect Sonic physics in
So,
Christian Whitehead's engine.
I reckon that's why Sonic Generations was probably better remembered, because they didn't have Mania to contend with.
Yeah, I mean, these games came out, 4 months apart? 5 months apart? Something like that.
So you have it fresh in your mind, whereas the other games, you haven't played them in a while. I'm sure it probably is something like that. But yeah,
I don't recall Classic Sonic playing this badly in Generations though. It's like when you jump with him, he loses all forward momentum and just has a jump arc that he takes. You can't do a running jump, as far as I'm aware. As soon as you jump, his jumping arc takes over, and you just do a jump.
I do believe the Game Grumps got caught out by something like that. They would be playing the classic Sonic levels, and then suddenly you'd die, and then like a moment of confusion would arise. It's like, well, why did I die there? I don't get it.
Yeah, I had one great instance where I was stood next to a spring. Because classic Sonic can't, like modern Sonic, can just run into the springs because of their shape and bounce off them. Classic Sonic, because they're flat springs, has to jump on them to bounce up. I had I wouldn't say great, in inverted commas, great moment where I was stood flush up against the side of the spring and decided to jump onto it. So I jumped, briefly tapped right on the D-pad, and he went over the spring and landed on the other side of it because he has this jump arc and weird momentum in the air. And I was, for about 3 tries, I jumped backwards and forwards, always landing too far, no matter how briefly I tapped the direction, until I backed up and jumped onto the spring from a distance. Which is incredibly awkward if you play something like Mania, if you need to jump onto a spring, you jump in the air, tap the direction, and he moves a tap's worth of direction and lands, and it's very weird.
Yeah, it's coming up against...
The best way I can describe it is odd.
I guess they just couldn't make the engine as smooth as Sonic Mania because they just haven't made it that way from the ground up. I actually noticed there's a fan patch for the PC version, a fan mod, which tries to fix classic Sonic's physics somewhat. How does that
it's not
fair?
It doesn't look great. I watched a video of it. It doesn't look perfect, but it does fix I think it somewhat fixes the running speed, the running cap, so that you can actually run and make it up an incline with classic Sonic without suddenly losing all your momentum and stopping.
So that's proving that it can be fixed. So how come Sega or whoever makes this haven't come out and
Because
updated
apparently the game was rushed to market.
They can patch it now, surely.
As funny as that sounds,
Yeah, yeah,
they could patch it, they could fix it and patch it, but instead they've decided to release Sonic T-shirts because memes.
Well, yeah, memes and all that. Gotta have your memes.
Sonic T-shirt DLC for the Avatar character to wear. I mean, I did find that quite funny.
That's a nice little reference, yeah, for the hardcore fan.
So, I don't hate the game by any means, and I had fun playing it for the 4 hours campaign. But,
how much is this? 4 hours? How much you paying for 4 hours?
I mean, the game does retail for $34.99 in pounds. So, and I paid $27.99 for it. So it is a budget game. It runs for a budget length. I don't hate it. It's just very mediocre, very average. It's nothing spectacular.
I suppose you could spend another 4 hours trying to 100% it or something, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could probably, if you tried to 100% it, it'd probably take you 10, 12 hours, I imagine. Another, maybe a bit more. It depends how good you are at the speedrunning aspect.
I guess we've not discussed the custom character who you can see on the side of the picture, the green dude next to Sonic.
Yeah, you can create your own Sonic OC Do Not Steal in the game. And mine was a yellow wolf wearing a purple beanie and a Sonic t-shirt.
Yeah.
So it's a nifty little character creation thing. I actually do like it. I wouldn't mind seeing that return in new Sonic games.
Having those extra outfit bits unlock for 100%ing levels or getting the extra score is a nice incentive as well to make you play those extra hours.
It plays a nice little jingle every time you unlock a piece, which gives you a satisfied feeling.
You get 5 items
for most people anyway. It depends. Sometimes you get 4, sometimes you get 5. It varies, but yeah. You get between 4 and 5 items. You unlock new avatar items every time you beat a new stage. You unlock new avatar items for everything in the game. So when you S-rank a stage, you get avatar items. When you beat the stage under a certain time, you get more avatar items. When you beat certain challenges, like
there are missions, isn't there? Like little achievements.
Yeah, they remind me of like missions in a mobile game, except they're all sort of
kill 5 enemies using his speed boost or something like that.
Use Sonic's stomp attack to kill an enemy, speed boost through enemies or whatever, and you unlock everything you unlock apart from the secret stages is avatar items, and beating the secret stages gets you more avatar items. So it's all centered around this avatar character, and it is quite fun. It is quite fun creating your own avatar character and like dressing them up, and once you beat the game, you unlock the ability to create more avatars, so you can have like one of each animal and stuff like that.
Are there not levels where you have hot swappable avatars that unlock after the end of the game? I think that's what Game Grumps showed off, a few extra bonus levels. You push what happens one of the buttons to toggle between the two.
Yeah, in any state, I think any avatar stage that you've beaten, you can use what they call a rental avatar. Right. So you can just use a random avatar that it grabs off the internet and lets you play as, which is pretty neat. Yeah. And in the SOS missions, sometimes you're forced to play as somebody else's avatar. Or I don't know if it's somebody else's or a random one, but yeah, you're forced to play as a random avatar that's not your own, which is.
I take it that's to save your avatar from danger or whatever. This story maybe.
Either saving yours or saving someone else's. It's just the SOS missions are a nice way to give you something else to do in the levels that you've already beaten.
I think seeing this.
I'd say it's a nice incentive, but it doesn't. I don't think it's enough to keep people coming back to the game, unfortunately. Because the gameplay is so average, and I didn't mention this, but the levels are incredibly short. Like the
Yeah, they
longest
do.
level I played, I think, was like 3 minutes. The shortest one I played was under a minute. So
I think watching Game Grumps, there were only 2 levels that were actually any challenge to him. The game is so short that apparently between sessions they lost their some footage, and so he had to replay the game again from the start. But it only took him about 90 minutes to get back to where it was.
yeah, I can believe that.
Because it was really no problem. I guess in
Yeah,
that way
so-
they were lucky that the game's dead short.
Very true. It's a damn good job that they weren't playing something. They weren't like 2 stories worth into Sonic 06 and then lost all the data or whatever.
Yeah.
Sonic 06 is a long and horrible game to play through.
I felt the story of the game was almost very good. Had it not been messed up so much.
It had some elements of a decent story in there, but it was so disjointed, and I don't know if anyone will mind if we spoil the story of a Sonic game. So, because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, spoiler
I don't
warning.
think anyone who's watching this gives a toss about a Sonic game, to be honest. About the story of it at any rate. But not like major things, but it's like just little things like that are really weird in the story. Like Eggman takes over the world, right?
Sure.
At the beginning of the story, and yet he's still running around fighting Sonic and friends. He's taken over the entire world, and yet he
100%
still
of it.
focuses. He still focuses on fighting Sonic and his friends. And like Infinite, the main new villain, the big bad guy, you fight his last boss fight, and then he just vanishes from the rest of the game.
I guess he was killed by Sonic. Getting him
Eggman.
fast.
It's like, did Eggman like get rid of him, like kill him off, or you don't get any explanation. He just sort of turns into the pixely effect that appears around him and flies away, and then he's gone. You don't know. You don't ever find out what happened to him. He just disappears.
It's strange, unsatisfying.
There's no resolution to who is the major villain of the entire game. I mean, obviously the overarching villain is Eggman as usual, but he was the main new sort of semi-interesting element, and he's just like swept aside towards the end, after a mediocre boss fight, which is the 3rd time you've played that same boss fight.
Yeah, those running boss fights, I kind of.
They're all exactly the same boss fight, and you face it 3 times.
I get it with the Metal Sonic because that's kind of hard bridging back to Sonic CD kind of Metal Sonic boss.
Yeah,
fight,
Sonic
where you had to
CD
chase-
and Sonic Mania had a running boss for Metal Sonic as well.
But when you're chasing,
And then you fight Infinite in the same way, and then you fight Infinite in the same way.
he got chased too many times, and now he'd given up. He was not as infinite.
And then
as
he
hoped.
disappears. And then the last boss is the same boss from Sonic Colors, and one other Sonic game as well, which shares the same last boss as this game. You can really tell that this game was rushed and unfinished.
The last boss
in
was
a lot of
little
aspects.
bit. It didn't feel, and I guess it was kind of epic, but I don't know. It felt like some little touches were missing to make it really feel like it was a good ending. Apart from Tails going, "True dat."
True dat.
True dat.
True
That
dat.
brought it back a little bit, but there's still work to do.
And Sonic fist bump in the avatar, because that's the theme song of the game. Fist bump.
I really liked the idea that you could be in the game as your avatar and you're best friends with Sonic, and you get to do your combo move and it plays the cool music as you're powering up and charging through the level. But then it's over really quickly, which is a shame because that was like the best bit of the game.
You know the best thing about those that double boost.
Yeah.
If you fail it, they stumble forwards a little bit and then boost anyway.
Damn, you kid there, buddy.
You just they fail the double boost and stumble a little bit, then perform the double boost anyway, and the only thing it does that the only difference is that it doesn't play the lyrics to fist bump, because it always plays fist bump when you double boost. It just misses the lyrics out. So if you want to hear fist bump without the lyrics, fail the double boost.
Charge, yeah.
But yeah, overall, it's a very average game. Even for a Sonic game, it's very just sort of mediocre. I can't recommend it.
How many 3D Sonic games would you put above it?
I have fun with it. I would put above it. I'd definitely put Sonic Colors above it. I'd probably put Sonic Unleashed above it.
Who, the Werehog thing?
Yeah. Oh. For mostly for its daytime stages where you're not the Werehog. Sonic Colors is definitely above it. I haven't played Sonic Lost World, so I don't know where I'd put that. And I'd probably put Sonic Adventure 2 above it, even though Sonic Adventure 2 is not a great game, but it's probably still slightly better than this one. Saying that, I still had fun with this one, so...
So you wouldn't say this was like 06 or Sonic Heroes? It wasn't a
far
stinker?
From it. It's not disgustingly bad like Boom. So
we just rifled off 3D games that it's superior to.
Exactly.
So
exactly. That's not saying much.
They could do
and it's
worse.
Nowhere near the level of Mania. Mania's a much better game, but if you're going to buy one of the Sonic games that came out this year, you buy Mania.
Oh, that was a
anyway,
nice in-depth run through Sonic there.
Yeah, I've rambled on a lot about that one. So what have you been playing?
Well, I'll go quickly through mine. What else have I got on my list?
I think we've been going a while now. We should probably speed things up.
I put the graphic for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp up, so I'll let you talk briefly about that if you like.
Yeah, I've been playing a bit of Pocket Camp. It landed on Android like a week or so ago. It's a cute little game. It's Animal Crossing, but in your pocket. And basically, like in the Animal Crossing games, like I think in New Leaf, you like arrive in town and they confuse you for being the new mayor, whereas in Pocket Camp, you arrive at the campsite and they confuse you as being the new campsite coordinator. That's how most Animal Crossing games start. And it's like, so you decide to do the job anyway. So basically, you go around speaking to animals and trying to get them to come to your camp. To get them to come to your camp, you have to do things for them. Like they'll say, I want 2 pieces of coral off the beach. So you have to go to the beach, pick up 2 pieces of coral and take it to them. Because these animals are lazy. Very lazy. They can't pick up their own scallop shells off the beach. You have to do it for them.
So is this camp like a farm like on the others where you're making crops and stuff, or is it different?
No, you don't. No, you don't do that on Animal Crossing. You're thinking of Harvest Moon.
Oh, right.
Animal Crossing is the one where you live in a little town and all the other residents of the town are animals, and you're the only human.
You had a house you could change, didn't you?
In Animal Crossing, yes. In Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, you run a campsite, and the animals can visit your campsite, and you can decorate the campsite, and you have a camper van that you can decorate as well. Excuse me, getting a bit croaky.
I've not really seen any of this game. I've seen little bits of the other games, I guess. But
it's a please give us all your money mobile game. Basically, I've discussed briefly what the game is. And what I've just described is literally it. You collect fruit off trees, you fish in a pond, you collect bugs, you collect seashells, and you give them to the animals, and that's all the gameplay is. As well as decorating your camp.
Is it expensive?
I've not paid a penny. It's a free-to-play game. It has their freemium currency called Leaf Tokens, which is the premium currency, and then you have gold, which is your in-game currency. The premium currency, very similar to, have you seen The Simpsons Tapped Out?
I played that
Works
very briefly.
It works similarly to the donuts in that where you'll set something to build. It'll say, "Oh, this is going to take an hour to build," and you can pay leaf tokens to speed it up. Or if you don't have enough of a certain resource to build the chair you want, you can pay leaf tokens as a substitute for that resource. And you know.
So can you wander around, explore whilst it's building? You mentioned we're going to the beach and picking up shells.
You can set up things to build and then carry on like playing the game.
Yeah.
While stuff builds.
So at least the building isn't the game, like on that tower defense, Game of War type stuff or whatever they are.
No. I mean, there's not much of a game there. I'm very hard pressed to call it a game because you don't do much gameplay. You just collect things and give them to the animals, basically, and then build things. I mean, I don't think the idea is that it's an engaging game. I think the idea is that I want to have a nice campsite, so I need to do these things so that I can buy these things and put them in my campsite, basically. So,
do you give it to your kids to teach them the value of money?
Yeah, I mean it's a toilet game. I mean, you go to the toilet, you're going to be sat there for 5 minutes. You whip the game out, you go do a bit of fishing, things like that, and then once you're done, you put it away.
Yeah,
it's fine to play like that. I will say, I played it for a while. I put quite a bit of time into it because I wanted to be able to talk about it on the podcast. And they must have given me... They've given out hundreds of the leaf tokens for free. I've not paid for a single one. I must have had nearly 1,000 leaf tokens for free.
Okay, so they're generous with their currency.
They're generous up front with the leaf tokens. I think I'm just starting to hit the dry spell, like the paywall part of the game now. But I think my character's like in the level 30s already. So it's not like you hit like a wall at like level... I've heard people saying once you get to level 10, that's when the paywall hits and you can't play it anymore. But I managed to get my character all the way up to level 30, and very easily with just playing for a few minutes at a time. It's not that egregious.
All right, so you say
it'd keep a kid entertained. I mean, it won't keep me entertained for very long. Because when I play a game, I want to play a game.
Yeah.
But it's
that's all right.
I wouldn't blame anyone for not wanting to play it because
it really is just a little 5-minute time waster, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, they've been every time you level up, you get 10 leaf tokens for free, and I must have had nearly 1,000 leaf tokens just given out to me over the course of the few days I've been playing it. So, I mean, I did play it a fair amount, so I could give my opinion here, but for a casual player, it'd just take a little bit longer, I think. It's a fine toilet game, like I say.
Thumb up, thumb down?
Imagine
you're Julius Caesar and you're going...
I can't recommend it. I don't hate it as a thing, but it is one of those that they want your money. Quite obviously, they want you to buy the leaf tokens, but I can't recommend it. It's fine, but I can't recommend it. I'd give it a sideways thumb, I guess.
Oh, then the last game that I put on our docket for today. And that was the Stranger Things the game on the
yeah, we've both played this one for a change.
Yeah. And I guess I'll lead with it, as I haven't really played all that much new stuff. Finished some games. I finished that South Park game, but
yeah, I just started playing the Stick of Truth, so I've got a bit of catching up to do.
Before I go on to Stranger Things, I'll quickly say on the South Park, I finally finished it. It was a South Park The Fractured But Whole, and it was about 12 hours, I say. It's not like a massive long game.
Yeah, so a decent length.
But
it's similar to the first game, isn't it?
It's pretty similar in the vein. It's the same high quality animation, same humor all the way through. You don't have dry spots in the game. There's no grinding in the game. I guess the toughest thing going is that you if you want to 100% it and find all the obscure little things, you have to backtrack a lot to try and find them, which could be a little bit troublesome.
If you're a South Park fan, I think you'd go and do that, though, wouldn't you? A massive fan. If you're a
got
massive
most
South
of
Park
it.
fan, you'd be like, yeah.
There's only one thing I didn't find, because they've got these cartoon drawings all over the game. You have to find all of them. I think I'm like
To collect all the yaoi.
Yeah, collect all of that, and that's the only mission I had left. There were a few people I could talk to gain some extra followers. I think the first game had a followers thing, didn't it? Where you gained...
Yeah, they follow you on Facebook, and they just egregiously call it Facebook, which is funny.
They replaced that with Coonstagram in the second game, where you obtain followers by getting pictures with them, selfies with them. And they won't take a selfie with you unless you've done certain things. And there was a couple of people that I couldn't do, one requiring you to earn a heck of a lot of money in order to get them to be on your side. So that's the one I didn't do.
Fair enough.
The battle...
It sounds good.
The battling system... in the last podcast, I only played the first bit, which was just you on your own fighting a bunch of enemies. But you do fight as a team in the end. You have like you and 3 other heroes. You can change.
Okay, so that's different from the first game, because you had you and one other person in the first game, didn't you? For the most part.
I think so. I can't remember terribly.
Yeah, I believe it was you and your buddy in the first game, I think.
So you get to pick your team of heroes. Who's available changes throughout the game, but at the end you've got like a choice of 10 different heroes, each with their own individual ultimate moves, and that's a nice change on things. It's a sort of isometric strategy, kind of a grid, and you move around your attacks of certain ranges. You pick which attacks you have. I thought that was a great game. I stand by what I said about it last time, giving it the thumbs up, and now I will talk about.
It sounds good. I want to finish Stick of Truth and then get straight into that one.
Straight on to that.
Sounds great.
But of course, I've got a graphic for Stranger Things on the screen, so we're supposed to be talking about that.
Up there.
Stranger Things, the game, it really does evoke the sense of the actual TV show. And the nice thing about this mobile game is that it's not trying to make money off you initially. Its job is to advertise the TV show. So it's kind of a standalone experience that you don't have to put any more money into.
Yeah, it's completely free. Once you download it, it doesn't require an internet connection to launch or anything. It's completely standalone free. Once it's on your device, you can just play it.
It's a very classic, maybe a little bit like Zelda in a way, a top-down SNES style RPG with those kind of visuals. Maybe a little slower paced than Zelda. It's like it hasn't quite got the ultimate spit and polish of a old school game, perhaps in some areas. It's like got a slight slower, kind of more simplified gameplay of a mobile game, but it's still all there.
Yeah, you've got to be able to play it on a touchscreen. So
it's you get to swap between all the characters. You can see on that little picture there. You've got all the characters from the show, pretty much, each with their own individual abilities, and there are dungeons to take them into and a town to explore. Yeah,
and it's sort of Metroidvania style. Instead of gaining different abilities in a Metroidvania style, you gain different characters who have those different abilities. So you can, like, one of them will have a slingshot to be able to hit switches from a distance and things like that. And it's so you can gain access to different areas.
Yeah, it's a nice, refreshing break from the coin cash grab games. To have something, it's just a marketing tool.
Yeah, it's neat. It's neat. I played through the whole of the first dungeon. So probably about 45 minutes of gameplay, 45 minutes, something like that. And it's got some nice little puzzles. I imagine they get a bit more difficult later on, but there's some nice little puzzles, a little bit of combat. It's good fun.
I think the odd irony here is that although it's trying to evoke the feeling of the 80s, it's actually using 90s style visuals. It's like 92, isn't it?
Yeah, it does look very Super Nintendo rather than
An ordinary Nintendo.
NES. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess another thing they could do is make a sequel and charge for the sequel because people have already played the demo for the sequel in the first game.
Possibly. I don't know how long this game is though. I don't think either of us have beat it, have we?
I don't get the impression it's going to be like a massive epic.
Can't imagine it's super long, but
I played it for about an hour. I played through 2 dungeons. It's some nice variety. You experience some of the environments seen in the games. They've put that in nicely. The upside down. You visit that in ways, and it's like a element of puzzles to that, which is kind of a nice spin on it.
yeah, so it's just pretty neat. It's a good little game considering it's completely free. I like it.
It's very official. They got all the music from the show and everything in there. Thumbs
Some nice little chip tunes. It's good. Yeah, I would also give it a thumbs up.
And that brings us to the end.
That is it, I'm afraid.
That was not quite serious. I've not been serious. I've been
weren't quite
shuffling
serious.
away whilst...
We weren't quite serious apart from that little bit in the middle where we were a bit serious and then... doesn't say not serious at all. It's just not quite serious.
Not quite
so
serious.
It's fine. It's fine.
Cuckoo.
Either way, that brings us to the end of the show. So thank you to everyone for watching. Basically, that's it. So I have been Leon. He has been Dan. And we will see you next time.
Farewell and bye-bye.
Ta-ra!